Here we are, together, each facing our different human tasks, or maybe the same central one, to embrace the lessons life delivers, to discern and respond as we grow, to refuse harm and cherish flourishing. May we know ourselves as vessels of infinite possibility, holders of each other's heartbreaks and tales of joy alike, weavers of one story in which we all have our part. Opening words by Leah Angiri. Kat will light our chalice here in the sanctuary. Those of you at home are invited to light your own chalice. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lit the flame within us and our community. Thanks, Kat. Before we sing the first hymn, let me remind our remote participants to leave yourselves muted. However, we want you and whoever is with you to sing as big and loud as you like. Make it a joyous experience. Please stand in body or spirit and sing the opening hymn, Gather the Spirit, number 347.
Gather the Spirit, harvest the power, our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour, our trials in this life appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria. We are glad you have joined us today. Our UUCC Sanctuary sits on land that the Salinan and Chumash indigenous peoples historically inhabited. We honor their contribution to this region and give thanks for the opportunity to gather in faith on their unceded territory. Let us respect their legacy and protect their history as we occupy this sacred space. As Unitarian Universalists, we celebrate religious diversity and welcome all who journey in search of faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation run by the democratic process. We invite speakers from different religious traditions and spiritual or scientific backgrounds to speak at our pulpit. We encourage presentations covering a variety of topics and areas of interest that connect with the UU 7 principles. Today's service centers around the fourth principle. We affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. My name is Janet Cooper, and I'm your worship associate for this morning's service. I would like to extend a special welcome to today's guests and visitors. We're glad you joined us this morning. If you wish, please raise your hand if you'd like to introduce yourself or your guest. Yes, absolutely.
My name is Kelly T. Van. I have been here before a couple of times with James and Mary Ann.
Oh, well, welcome.
And we see your Christmas service 2 or 3 years ago, which they sang when I was in Cambria, but it was all remote. Also, that's another one. And I drove here in Ames's car.
Oh, okay.
And it was his birthday yesterday.
Oh, it was. Oh, loved it.
I think we met when he was about 10.
Oh, gosh.
And I was older than that. And I just bought a house influenced by from the library. By having visited Ames and Mary Ann.
Oh, wonderful.
Also, I was a UU schoolroom teacher, Sunday teacher for 9 years. And my kids were old.
Oh, wow.
I was
Gosh.
married by a UU minister and attended the churches regularly in DC, New York, San Francisco, homes in Manchester.
Oh, gosh. Wow. Wow. Great history. Well, welcome. I'm glad you're with us.
Yesterday, I wanted don't forget to go use Luke.
Okay, so I'm glad you made it. Welcome. Yes. Morning. Welcome.
And I'm Terry Brown, and it's my first time here.
Oh, welcome. Oh, I'm glad you joined us this morning. Welcome. Well, wonderful. Well, you have a great turnout today. If you're not on the UUCC mailing list, please visit our website at uuccambria.org so we can keep you informed about all of our activities. And members and friends, please check out what's happening, the e-blast sent to you every week. This is a great way to keep up to date with our latest news. If you wish to see this or any of our past Zoom services, the recordings can be found on the UUCC website and on Facebook. So again, good morning and welcome to everyone. The affirmation is both a recognition of the nature of this community as well as a promise to which we aspire. Let us now recite the UUCC affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another. We set aside this time for any special announcements that would be of interest to our UU community members and friends. Please keep your items short and to the point. If something needs more explanation, please contact the person after the service. If you'd like to make an announcement, please raise your hand. When Randy or I call your name, please step up to the podium or unmute yourself and speak. Nancy, I see you. Oh, sorry. I saw her first. Oh, do you want? Okay. I will.
It's the time of year, pardon my voice, where we have picked our candidates for the scholarship. And we thought we would be fine and not have to ask for money, but that's not the case. So if you have any spare money laying around, just write a check to the UUCC and put on the memo line scholarships. We have 2 candidates that we can't cover with what we have right now. So please donate. Thank you.
Well, I wasn't going to announce this again, but since we have visitors, and I know Curtis was here before, I remember you, just repeating that we're going to be having the movie American Fiction on the 23rd of this month at, I think, 2 in the afternoon. Oh, God, I'm bad. Anyways, good reason to check your e-blast, but it's here, it's free, and hope to see you.
Good morning. It's not too soon to start thinking about volunteering to find a sermon that somebody else wrote and prepare to deliver it at this podium during a Sunday in August. That's our Sermons by Other People series. And so the month of August, all those Sundays, we read other people's sermons read by any of you out there. So if you're interested, please let me know. And if you find a sermon that really appeals to you, that's the one we want to hear. Okay, thanks.
We now have a new monthly TED Talk. We started last month and now we're continuing. It's Wednesday, coming up this Wednesday at, I think it's 4:00. And we've got a really good one for you. So if you all want to join us, we're going to be on Zoom, so it'll be easier to join us. And the title of it is called Eulogies for the Living.
Hello. Last week, Ted expressed concerns about the wind farms off our coast and implored us to get more involved. He's gone to many meetings to learn more about it. So that motivated me to go to an event yesterday called Save Our Seas, put on by reactalliance.org, an organization against the wind farms. And over 200 people attended. They marched down to the Embarcadero, and there were speakers. Jill Knight played. They had a lot of literature. And so tomorrow, Tuesday, the 12th, at the Memorial Bay Vets Hall, the city council is going to have a meeting, and React Alliance is going to put on a PowerPoint presentation, which will be really interesting. So that's at 5:30 on Tuesday.
Okay, Randy, do we have anyone in Zoom?
Yes, Jeff, if you would unmute yourself and make your announcement.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a statement about hope, which I am grateful for, and that's what I wanted to show as my concern and joy. I am very hopeful for a ceasefire and the statements by our president, and hopefully things are going to get better, and I'm happy to lend support and grateful for the social justice again for listening to me and my concerns, and I'm hoping that we all as a group will add our support to that effort in peace as a organization dedicated to that. Thank you.
Back to you, Janet.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Next week, John Seed will present What Contemporary Representational Paintings Can Tell Us. Sharing together some of our personal and significant joys and concerns brings us closer. Oh, I guess Jeff's not muted. As a faith community, we invite you to share the milestones that are deeply felt as part of your personal life, express a gratitude, or perhaps offer an acknowledgement. But please be mindful and considerate of all who come to worship with us this morning. The collective flames of these candles embody all the joys and concerns which may have gone unspoken today, but are deeply felt in this community. The first reading is a quote by Mary Oliver, a Pulitzer Prize-winning American poet. Of course, for each of us, there is the daily life. Let us live it, gesture by gesture. When we cut the ripe melon, should we not give it thanks? And should we not thank the knife also? We do not live in a simple world. Let us enter a place of peace and serenity where you are one with your spiritual being. Be at peace within your space where the absence of all that is temporal is its most cherished gift. Let us enter the stillness. May we find the compassion and empathy we need to strengthen relationships. May we find ways to love each other well. May we not judge or condemn, but rather build a beloved community. The second reading is a quote by Barbara Brown Taylor, an American Episcopal priest, academic, and author. What is saving my life now is the conviction that there is no spiritual treasure to be found apart from the bodily experiences of human life on earth. My life depends on engaging in the most ordinary physical activities with the most exquisite attention I can give them. My life depends on ignoring all touted distinctions between the secular and the sacred, the physical and the spiritual, the body and the soul. What is saving my life now is becoming more fully human, trusting that there is no way to God apart from real life and in the real world. The anthem today is Holy Now by Peter Mayer and will be sung by Mary Schwalbe.
So a group of us have been meeting. We just started, so it's not too late for the rest of you to join us. On a Wednesday, once or twice a month, to read the UU Pocket Guide. That's there's a new edition of it with every new UU president. And we meet here, we read a few pages, and then we talk about it. And the last time we met, we got a little off track talking about different words and what they meant to you and how you felt about them and if they bothered you. And we got into a conversation about the word sacred and the word holy. And this song came to my mind, and I thought maybe it would fit in a little bit with what Reverend Lynn's going to talk to us later on. And as far as I'm concerned, everything is holy now. I didn't turn it back on, did I? It's a different tuning. Oh, I'm on the wrong song too. Wow. I took a beta blocker and I don't think it did it. When I was a child each week, on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn
thinking about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad that miracles don't happen still. But now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything, everything, everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips. But now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second rate, hand me down. But I walk it with a reverent air. Everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face and say it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come and say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood and saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second rate, hand me down. But I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now.
Today's talk is titled Worship, to be delivered by Reverend Lynn Hopkins. The Reverend Lynn Hopkins is a Unitarian Universalist minister serving the congregation of Montgomery, Alabama. Lynn is a lifelong activist for justice and equity since the days of the Vietnam War. Raised in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., Lynn and Lynn's spouse, Carolyn, lived 20 years in the Atlanta area and briefly in Denver, Colorado, before settling in Montgomery in 2014. In all those places, Lynn was engaged with public advocacy, protest, testimony, and other activities in the areas of sexuality and gender equity, racial equity, poverty and homelessness, criminal justice, disability access, and more. Currently, Lynn serves as co-chair of the Interfaith Montgomery, on the board of Montgomery Pride United, the Leadership Council of Faith and Action Alabama, and is a member of TRUST, Transgender Religious Professional Unitarian Universalist Together. Lynn identifies as queer and gender non-binary and prefers the use of Lynn's first name in place of pronouns. I give you Reverend Lynn.
Thank you, Janet. And thank you, Randy, for the invitation and your mastery of the technology. And thank you, Mary, for the rendition as well as the selection of that piece. I love words. Words give voice to my rage, my jubilation, my wonder. Even in silence, words are my first tool for solving problems, exploring ideas, and resolving contradictions or conflicts. They can be my greatest adversary as I struggle to articulate meaning, but on difficult days, words are my best company. Used recklessly, words can confuse, deceive, and cause wounds that may never fully heal. They are not to be taken lightly. But when we are at our best, our words can evoke, impart, inspire, and transport. Many of the words in common usage are used so carelessly that they become almost empty of intended meaning. Words that should have the greatest power, words like awe, love, faith, require a host of other words to clarify what we mean when we use them. Other words have become so laden with the baggage of dominant culture that they lose much of their value, distorted and corrupted by usage in ways that oppress rather than liberate. We still need them, or at least we need something to point to the things they once described, but we become reluctant to speak, lest we be misunderstood and do harm to the people and the values that we cherish. Of course, there are words that are not appropriate for speaking aloud, words of violence and hatred, like racial and ethnic slurs. There are others, words that I use frequently that I nonetheless would not speak from a pulpit unless I was quoting someone. There are a handful of words that I use lovingly with great care that tend to make Unitarian Universalists uncomfortable. Now, it is my strongly held view that the ability to create that discomfort is the most important, the most venerable power that words can possess. While discomfort is not always creative, it is always the first thing that happens in the process of growth, of maturation, of liberation, and of transformation. Now, if you're in my generation, you remember George Carlin. The comedic genius in 1972 mocked our culture of propriety in a monologue about 7 words you can't say on television. His point was made when he was arrested for obscenity immediately after the show. Today, you can hear all of them on late night basic cable. But in his honor, in an honor of George Carlin's most famous treatise, I suggest that there are 7 words you can't say in UU. God, sin, repentance, salvation, holiness, prayer, and worship. Today, I want to consider that last one, a word that has been the subject of controversy in ministers' groups on social media as recently as this week. We disagree. Worship. It's a classic story of a word that has been co-opted and corrupted beyond recognition. Its roots lie in a word that we use often and easily, worth, as in the first principle, inherent worth and dignity. Worship began just as a verbal contraction of worthship, which, let's face it, is hard to pronounce. Worthship, assessing or imparting some value of significant or appreciable worth. If you enjoy the TV programs of the British Commonwealth known as procedurals, typically depictions of legal drama, you'll be acquainted with the practice of using quasi-religious words as forms of respectful address. Your Grace, my Lord, your worship. What I didn't know until I began diving into the origins and usage of the word is that worship is actually the lowest level of professional honor. Administratively, it's given to local officials like city councilmen. It indicates not that I revere excellence or eminence or highness in you, but simply that I recognize you have worth, your worthship. I have no idea how that eventually came to refer to how people praise or honor a supreme being, but there it is, worthship. I think it's especially relevant this year as we, the Unitarian Universalist Association worldwide, consider a new expression of our religious commitment in terms of values. At General Assembly this year, there will be a vote following more discussion on incorporating a statement of our shared values in the place where our statement of principles now exists. If it is ratified, Article 2 of the UUA bylaws will contain a collection of values that we, as Unitarian Universalists, regard as having greatest worth, worthship. It's a momentous decision for the association, an enormous undertaking to reach any semblance of agreement among such a diverse and complicated bunch of folks. The formal process has taken 3 years so far. And there are ways in which this evolution has actually been going on for more than a decade. This great collective act of worthship within our association. But the truth is, we as individuals are taking actions of worthship all the time. It's really just a matter of assigning value to something. It's making a choice. When we purchase one thing rather than another, or from one vendor rather than another. When we show up at a gathering rather than sleeping in, it's a statement of what has greater worth to us. Giving honor through our choices to our values. Everything we do is by choice, even if most of it is largely unconscious and rote. And every choice represents something that we value above other things. Every contribution of money, time, effort, and attention is an act of worthship. Most choices we make may be trivial, what to eat, what to wear, but some of our unconscious choices are anything but trivial. Whether we give attention to people that we encounter, how and if we speak to one another with intimate partners or coworkers or strangers or people who look and sound differently from us. Do we honor our value of love, compassion, and justice? When we do, it is an act of worship, no matter how small, to say hello with a smile, to ask how someone is feeling, and listen mindfully. These things are worship. Of course, our choices are unconsciously shaped by things beyond our control. In many cases, anxieties, personality disorders, neurodiversity, childhood trauma, can cause us to neglect things that we would choose to give attention to forget or overlook or procrastinate. So it's essential to give ourselves and one another grace and empathy, to forgive ourselves and forgive each other, is also an act of worship. In our free and responsible search for truth and meaning, that fourth principle, the choices that we make day to day, minute to minute, the tiny acts of worship are how we make meaning through all the noise. It is easy, and perhaps most of us do, to go through daily life without paying much attention. There are places we need to be, things we need to do. But if we will practice attention, mindfulness, consideration to the small and large choices we are making, it becomes possible to recognize those holy things all around us and to acknowledge that in each choice we are offering worship to things that we value. The quote from Barbara Brown Taylor talks about engaging the most ordinary physical activities with the most exquisite attention. What is saving my life now, she says, is becoming more fully human, trusting there is no way to God apart from real life in the real world. I don't use or think about the word God very often, but I know what she means there. That the way in which we transcend, the way in which we experience wholeness, the way in which we become able to recognize the awesome power in the world in which we live and in one another. The only way to do that is to engage the most ordinary physical activities with the most exquisite attention. It is usually the case that no harm is done if we don't pay attention, except that so much is lost. And so, as we make these choices, these daily choices, these where do I go now and where shall I sit and whom shall I address and what shall be my tone of voice and how long shall I stay? All of these things. May we acknowledge that these things are a recognition of the worth that we assign to one another and to our values, so that we may experience more fully life in the real world. May it be so.
Thank you, Reverend Lynn. So we're worthship associates. The morning offering will now be given and received. Please remember, we are a self-sustaining congregation and provide all financial resources for our many ministries. We recognize the spiritual value of generosity and invite you to participate. If you are viewing this service remotely, please use one of the methods shown on the screen. Thank you. Our thanks for all gifts given and received for the work of this community. Please stand in body or spirit and sing the closing hymn, Where is Our Holy Church, number 113.
Where is our holy church, where race and class unite, and the persons in our search for beauty, truth, and right? Where is our holy writ, wherein a human heart a sacred torch of truth has lit by inspiration taught? Where is our Holy One? The mighty host respond. The people rise in every let to break the captive's bond. Where is our holy land? Within the human soul, wherever free minds truly seek with character the goal. Where is our paradise? In aspiration's sight, wherein we hope to see arise 10,000 years of right.
As we prepare to extinguish the chalice, let us recite the valediction. The flame of this chalice will no longer burn today, but the light of the flame in our hearts continues to shine brightly, illuminating the love felt in our community. Please extinguish your chalice at home now. Now let us form a circle and join hands. Reverend Lynn will give the closing words. I guess I stood here. So. This might not work. Okay, our circle's complete.
As we go forth, let us take care what we worship. May our words and our actions reflect the true values we cherish and celebrate the worth of all that we may encounter. Our service has ended. May our service begin.
Thank you. Thank you. That was good. Thank you. Yay. Thank you.